This video I'm going to share with you how the xtrail manages to tow the caravan. I'm going to share some bush mechanic tricks that I've done so far during the trip, and I'm going to share with you things that you can do when your vehicle starts overheating. To start with, I'd like to introduce the brand new addition to the RuggedLife family. We don't have a name for it yet, but this is a 1998 Jayco pop-top caravan. Now, a couple of things I want to get right from the start. This channel won't turn into another caravan YouTube channel. And RuggedLife hasn't gone soft. We are going to continue exploring. We're going to continue our tent and car camping videos. So why did we buy a caravan and what are we up to? Well, we are in the middle of a 3,000 kilometer, 1 month long road trip. And at the end of this road trip, I've actually got a surprise for you guys. So make sure you keep an eye on that future video. This 2007 P30 2.5 liter petrol engine xtrail, together with basically most model xtrails, are capable of towing up to 2,000 kilograms or 2 tons brake trailer. If it's unbraked trailer, then it can tow up to 750 kilograms. Personally, I wouldn't tow anything over 1.5 kilograms or 1.5 tons, which is pretty much the weight of this xtrail, give and take. I'm a strong believer of the saying that goes, the tail doesn't wag the dog. It is much safer if the tow vehicle is much heavier than what it's towing. Secondly, the gear ratios of the Nissan xtrails are geared up more for efficiency. So unlike full-size SUVs, anything that affects the aerodynamics, like anything you put on the roof, or any load that you put in it, or anything that you tow, it drastically affects fuel efficiency and the power of the vehicle. So what did I do to prepare the xtrail for this 3,000 kilometer road trip? If you haven't noticed yet, I reverted back to the original tire size of 215 65 16s highway tires. And the other thing I did before I left was obviously fully service the vehicle, and I got my mechanic to replace the fuel injectors to brand new injectors. I wanted the xtrail to be as efficient and as reliable as possible in this trip. This caravan is super light at only 956 kilograms empty. Fully loaded, it's only 1,256 kilograms, which is way below the weight of the xtrail. For a long trip like what we're doing now, this is probably the biggest and heaviest I would tow behind me for reliability and efficiency. But for shorter trips, sure, I can get a bigger one. My xtrail has got over 244,000 kilometers on the clock. It's a, as I said, 2.5 liter petrol engine. It's got a 4-speed automatic transmission, not a CVT, full auto, and it's still going strong. Towing this, I was averaging about 6.5 kilometers per liter, or around about 15.3, 15.4 liters per 100. Last week we had to travel over a gorge, a big gorge, and geez, the poor xtrail really struggled. It was a 39-degree day and it wasn't good. We almost overheated about 6 or 7 times. But to be fair with the xtrail, this auxiliary fan was actually faulty, and I knew it before we left, but I just didn't have time to order a new auxiliary fan assembly. So what I did before we left was I bought a 12-inch auxiliary fan, and I just took it with me. So the following day, once we've packed up in the caravan park and set up ourselves, I decided to do some bush mechanics and just install the auxiliary fan. So the only way I could install it, or the only place I could install it, is right in front of the air conditioning condenser, which is that silver radiator looking thing. And as you can see, the 12-inch fan is down right there. And I just managed to use the existing brackets that I used for my transmission cooler down there when I installed it years ago. So I got it working. It's all rigged up, and it's all wired up as well. So what I did was I just cut the wires temporarily of this fan. I mean, that's faulty anyway, so that could be changed one day soon. And then I just used the wiring to then power my fan, so the sensors kick in and the fan works. That day that I installed the fan, I also decided to do something to kind of prepare for the following day, because it was going to be a 39/40 degree Celsius day again. So what I did, which you can learn from this, is I removed the hose that runs your windscreen washers. So here it is, the tank for your windscreen washer. So I removed it from the two squirters up there and rerouted it temporarily. There's the left side, there's the right side, using cable ties, and just rerouted it right in front of the radiator. One there and one down there. So then when I'm driving and I notice that the temperature goes up, I just squirt it, turn on my windscreen washers, and instead of the water squirting on my windscreen, it squirts down in the radiator, and believe me, it does help. I've got this gadget called an OBD2 sensor, which is Bluetooth powered. I'll show you. I have a video that I created a while back. I'll put a link in the description. So it's this gadget here that I just bought from eBay, and it plugs into your ECU and it gives you accurate readings from your ECU. So one of the things that I've been monitoring was I've been accurately monitoring the temperature of the engine. So I could see, and I'll show you in the following clip, how much temperature, how much degrees it would go down when I do the squirts of these windscreen washer. So I've got 101 degrees Celsius. So we'll see if my the water spray that I put from the windscreen to the radiator, I'll flick it on now like this, and then yeah, so it's actually squirting water here. It's actually squirting water on the radiator. Obviously the wiper will go on, but the water is going to the radiator. And then now you look at the temperature, it dropped down to 97 from 101, and it should keep going down a little bit, hopefully. 97,
96,
96, yeah,
95,
so that's it, working.
94.
94. So it keeps the engine cool every now and then I'll just stop and refill the tank once the water's all gone. It's pretty helpful.
93.
93, yeah, that's pretty low. Okay, now the other thing you can do is, when you're driving and the temperature's really getting up there, is to turn off your air conditioning, switch it to heater. Okay, blast it to number 4, open all your windows so you won't boil yourself. And what that does is, there's this thing called a heater core. So hot water that circulates in the engine goes to your radiator. All right, if you turn on your heater, just imagine that the heater core is something like a mini radiator. The hot water from the radiator or the engine cycling, when you do this, it will open the heater core. The hot water will then go to this heater core, and from there the hot air will then be extracted and thus comes out of your vents. Okay, so believe me, and I'll show you in the next clip, that when you do this, the temperature drastically drops. That will help you a lot in overheating situations. So here's the trick you can do when your car's overheating. Well, we're not overheating yet, but it's 109 degrees now. That's pretty high for the xtrail. I'm towing a caravan on the way up a hill. So you put your heater on, just open your window so it doesn't boil you. Blast your heater, turn off your AC if you can, there's no use now, and you watch the temperature drop. I would love to hear your experience towing with your Nissan xtrail. Put a comment down the bottom, share your experience with myself and others. On behalf of my family here at the PAX Radio Telescope in PAX, New South Wales, Australia, have a Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.